Good evening, everyone. My name is Someshwar. I welcome all of you on behalf of Art Uplink organization to योग वाशिष्ठ इवनिंग सेशन। नमस्ते, मैं सोमेश्वर आप सभी का आर्ट अपलिंक संस्था की तरफ से योग वाशिष्ठ के सायंकाल के सत्र में स्वागत करता हूँ। रोज की तरह आज के सत्र की भी ओंकार का उच्चारण करके करेंगे। टुडे वी आर 122 122वें सत्र में हम लोग योग वाशिष्ठ के यहाँ पे पहुंच चुके हैं। आज का जो अपना सत्र रहेगा उसका सब्जेक्ट जो रहेगा और टुडे सब्जेक्ट फॉर टुडे सेशन विल बी दैट व्हाट इज व्यष्टि, व्हाट इज समष्टि। मींस हमारा जो जीव होता है उस जीव की जो सृष्टि होती है उसको हम लोग यहाँ पे व्यष्टि कहते हैं, और जो अपने ब्रह्म होते हैं, शिव होते हैं, उनकी जो सृष्टि होती है उसको हम यहाँ पे समष्टि कहते हैं। तो कैसे यह क्या होता है, इसके बारे में, इसका फर्क क्या होता है, इसके बारे में सिमिलैरिटीज क्या होते हैं, उसके बारे में जानेंगे, देखेंगे। बोलते जो विराट पुरुष होता है उसका वर्णन कैसे किया जा सकता है। वही ब्रह्म, वही शिव जो अपने आप को विराट स्वरूप में यहाँ पे देखते हैं, तो उसका वर्णन किस तरह से हो सकता है। और जो बोलते हमारा यह जन्म होता है, हम लोग जो जीव, जो इंडिविजुअल कॉन्शियसनेस होता है, वो जीव की धारणा, हाउ डू वी एक्चुअली अज्यूम दिस जीवा, हाउ डू वी रियली कम इन टू दिस फॉर्म, how is that and what is the swarupa, what is the form of that, all such details we'll see, look at this in detail today. So let's I once again I welcome all our Zoom participants, all our Facebook viewers and all our YouTube viewers to this session today. Let's continue this session by praying, offering our prayers to the master, and we'll chant Omkar 3 times. Let's all close our eyes, sit comfortably, spine erect. Let's all close our eyes. Breathe in and breathe out. Take one more deep breath and let go. Let's take a deep breath in for Omkar chanting. Let us invoke the divinity within. गुरु का आह्वान कर ले। आवाहनम आवाहनम आवाहनम। गुरु वंदना कर ले। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Tasmai Shri Shri Gurave Namaha. Let us pray to the divinity, to the master. Whatever the words that come out of this mouth, whatever the actions and the events happening, whatever the thoughts hover onto our mind, and the power of discrimination arise in our intellect, the impressions that might be getting created in the memory if you are allowing them to do so. And if still there is an iota of that I, me, let all that be inspired by the master alone. Working on the path of liberation, if you have already experienced that it is no bondage, then you are already moksha, liberated, free. In that case, this remaining life, let that be inspired by the master, be like this. Feel the presence of the master within and outside, and slowly and gradually, you may open your eyes. Jai Gurudev. So let's continue here from a perspective of a syllabus. We are into chapter number 7 called Nirvan Prakaran Uttarradh. And in that we are in the chapter number 95 today. So do not think that, okay, there is a huge background that is required. This each and every session are they are complete in itself. No? Ho sakta hai ki if there is a story and that story continues, probably you would like to see the previous session. Those are also available on the Facebook, and we will also upload them on the YouTube also. So don't feel that, okay, I am starting something new today. How will I understand? There is no background. No. Each and every session are complete in itself, as well as you will be able to express yourself and also ask the question in the end of the session. So all the doubts will be cleared over here. So there is nothing to worry that I have started this first time. Will I understand that? Do not worry any such thing. We'll make sure that whatever is being said here, we really understand that. So here, this dialogue is between the Vaashishtha Muni and Prabhu Ramchandraji. That is what is Yog Vaashishtha. And here now Vaashishtha Muni is giving one more deep knowledge related to what is this universe is all about. We have seen the reference of this when we discuss this thing in the Utpatti Prakaran, the creation of this universe, but we'll see a little bit more detail into that. So here it says there are to understand this, we need to really first understand how this entire universe is created. So it says that just like there is a wave that comes in the ocean, like that once upon a time that spurred, that thing comes into the Brahman or Shiva, whatever you call it, is really immaterial. It just comes just like a wave. Is there any reason for wave to come? There is no reason. It's just like that wave comes and then it subsides. Like that in the Chaitanya, in that supreme consciousness, the wave comes. And when that wave comes, we call that as a Chaitya. It's like a Vishaya going towards outward tendency that I am separate something from the mood, the root. That thing comes up and it's called as Chaitya. Now to express that, there comes that it assumes the form of a Chitta. The Chitta means Chitta itself takes the form of Ahankara, ego. Chitta itself takes the form of your mind as it does the Manana. Chitta itself take the form of buddhi, intellect, and chitta itself takes the form of smriti, memory. No, so it's an expression of chitta that it comes into those 4 forms. So it's a chitta that, and in that chidakash, chitta of supreme, it forms that chidakash. It creates using the panchatan matras, rasa, rupa, gandha, all those things. The sense of sight, the sense of taste, all the different 5 senses and associate. And the 5 elements, the space, earth, air, water, and the fire, all the 5 elements combined together, it expresses itself in the form of this world. So different object that comes into existence, earth, sun, and all the universe, what we see, all that happens to comes into existence. But how it is happening? It's all happening in the Chidakash. Chidakash is the Chitta Akash of the Supreme, the Divine. Now in that, what comes is this Jiva Bhava, means that is the individual consciousness. What is this individual consciousness? Is that now in that Chidakasha, all other objects we have seen, the formation of objects we have seen, there is something that it comes that even I'm different than that supreme consciousness. It takes the form of a Jiva Bhava. That Jiva Bhava comes into picture, that individual consciousness comes into picture, and that individual consciousness again follows the same thing which happens at the level of Chidakash. So that Jiva Bhava feels that I am separate. It forms its own Chitta. Now there is a Chidakash, and in that there is a Chittakash of individual consciousness. And then in that Chittakash, again all the memory, all the intellect, buddhi, memory, smriti, ahankara, all that comes into picture. And then again using rasa, rupa, gandha, all those different five senses and its shaktis, powers, using that, and again the pancha mahabhuta, five elements, this grassroots level body forms. And then there comes the prana, the breath, and then all the body parts comes into picture, all these things. So all these things, how does it happen? It's not that there is a structure that is created first and the prana comes and insert it. No, it all happens at a time. It's like a big bang. It all happens at a time. That thing comes into picture, and it takes that same, the process, the matter, and all these things together. When Gurudev asked somebody that does matter has come first or it's the Chaitanya, that energy has come up, he said it can all happen simultaneously at a time. Spherical thinking. Do not think in a chronological order or in a sequence. No, it can all happen just like that. It is like that when you light up the lamp in the room. Now, how does the room lights? Like this, or it just boom, lights everything at a time, right? So like that. So like that, it can all happen. So that is what the concept. So it's very important for us to understand this Vyshti and Samashti. So what is called as Samashti here? It is that Chidakash, that Chitta Akash of the Supreme Divine, and its creation, the common creation between, let's say I am Someshwar and we have Kiran or Remaji here, and we both of us are looking at one particular object in the here, let's say moon is there or the sun is there. So it's a part of the Samashti. No? They all are looking at that one Samashti which is common to us. But for me, at an individual, we have seen an example of that lady which is standing outside, and the lady or the person which is standing outside the home, and the lady bangs the door, and both these individuals perceive this as differently. Why? The Chitta Akash, the Brahmanda of Chitta Akash of the lady who is inside the house and the person who is standing outside the house, their two Chitta Akash are two different Chitta Akash exist in this Chitta Akash. So their Brahmanda are different, so their thinking is different. So the same event, that door is the Samashti, but both of them perceive that event as differently. Why so? Because the Chitta Akash is different. So the one which is common to everybody is called as Samashti, and the one which is at the level of individual consciousness is called as Vyshti. So here Vaashishtha Muni continues to explain this, that in this Chitta Akash, if you see this Ananta, this infinite Brahmandas, universe, they keep forming, no? And then just like the Atma Jyoti, that Atma Jyoti is there, it eliminates, that itself eliminates, it eliminates, and then because of that Jyoti which is there inside, it is there, that Chaitanya, that consciousness is there in each one of us. Why it's not obvious? He said it is because of the avidya, it is because of the ignorance, which is, and what is ignorance? It is that I am this body, I am this mind, this is what I am doing, this is what it is, the way we perceive the thing, the way we give name to it, the way we discriminate between two things, all these things which is external, but this is all avidya. This sansar is maya. No? So it is because of that self-luminous divinity which is pervading, itself omnipresent, omnipotent, it is not very obvious, no? Because of that thing it is. So this is what, after listening to this Vivechan, after listening to this thing, Rama keeps asking questions in between. When the dialogue goes on, Rama is very curious about the things. He says, hey Mune, that you have told me that this Jiva, in the Jiva Shastra, if you read about it, in that thing, we use the words Shabdadi, and then that are the things we use in a day-to-day communication. That Sarupa is there. And then how does that thing, that Jiva, that individual consciousness, which I just mentioned here, How does that take the form? Can you please tell me a little bit more detail? Now we saw how from the medical science perspective, how the man and woman come together and how they gets into the sex, and there is a reproductive system that comes into picture in the mother's womb, that fetus comes into picture, and how it takes the form. No? So you can actually see that entire fetus development. If you go through the portal and YouTube, all the videos are available. We know from a medical science perspective, how does that comes into picture? How does that comes into picture from the spiritual perspective? आध्यात्मिक दृष्टि से यह जीव भाव और यह सब कुछ कैसे उत्पन्न होता है is something which is very well explained over here. No? And that is the question Rama asked to Vashishtha, that can you please tell me how these Vishayas, how these Indriyas, five senses, and how this Jiva takes that form, how it comes into here, and what is the thing that is the relevant, or what is the commonality or the relationship between the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness. Can you please tell me this thing in detail? I really want to know. No, so very curious. Rama is very curious here, and he keeps asking questions like this. So here Vashishtha Muni continues that if you look at the Anand, the one Vishnu does not, which is the infinite in nature, that Chaitanya, that supreme consciousness, that Chidakash, that point of time, it just take that wave form comes and it takes the form of a Chaitanya. We are in this. Now that Chaitanya comes, that is where the matter Padarthas, that concept comes into picture. That itself is gets into that. If you look at it from the different perspective, it's also called as Chitta. No, so there are three words. Let's not get confused between them. Is Chitta. Chitta means that Chitta Ananda. We say no. Chitta Ananda is what we say. That Chitta. That Chitta means here the Shiva, Brahman, that supreme consciousness. Then there is something called like Chaitya. Chaitya is your senses and its outgoing tendencies. That is Chaitya. And then there is something called like Chitta. C-H-I-T-T. No? In first thing it was a C-H-I-T, Chitta. Here it is Chitta. The C-H-I-T-T, Chitta. So that Chitta is the mind or the intellect. It takes the different forms, subtle forms. So that is the Chitta. So they think that the thing which experiences through these indriyas, that thing is Chitta, and beyond that is the source of energy, that Chaitanya is called as Chitta. That is the different name. Then what it does, then it assumes the prana dharana, means it assumes that breath and that prana comes into picture, and because of that prana dharana, that individual consciousness is called as Jiva. That supreme consciousness is Shiva, and the individual consciousness is called as Jiva here. It is because Jiva, Jivati Pranadharana. It is because of the Pranadharana, that thing it is called as Jiva. No? We say that living and non-living. See it from perspective of biology. So here Rama, this is, it's very, very small. No? So if you see it from the perspective that we cannot really say about that Chitta, that Chaitanya, that okay, this is small like an anu, an atom. We say it just for the sake of it is smaller than that, or it is grass. We cannot really say anything about it. We cannot say that it is like a space. It is beyond space also. So like this, if you see, if you really want to put it in words, no, we are not put it in words. Today we have seen the intimate note to Sincere Seeker. Gurudev was talking about and space element over here. No, he was talking about that thing which is beyond that space. Oh, he was talking about the multiple space, space inside space. So if you see, and he also mentioned about the knowledge is beyond words, is in between the words. So that is what is coming into picture, that what that truth is, what that satya is, that is beyond your words. No, it is in between the words. So if you try to explain that in word, it is not possible. It becomes very difficult to explain that in word. Such that Swanubhav, that one which can experience, that experience at the level of this, that is where we can say it like something as Chinmatra, something as Swanubhava Rupa, something as that Samvid is there. Something is the jani, awareness. We can just be aware about that divinity. Otherwise it becomes very difficult. Then it's the same, that Chaitanya, same divinity expresses itself into different forms. So for example, different matter comes into picture, different class of matters comes into picture. It has its own qualities, dharma. Then it takes the different forms, akaradi, etc. But inside that same Chaitanya, that same awareness that exists. Even though it appears to us as different forms, and we have given it different names, yet it is the same thing. If you look at that example of that pot which is there, the Akash Tattva, that space inside the pot and the space which are outside the pot, is it different? No, it's the same pot. Pot is broken, it's the same thing. Can we say that, okay, the space here and the space there, it has merged here? Where is the merging? It was anyway same. So like that, if you see that from that perspective, you can really experience that divinity. So then what happens at the level of Samashti, there is this air element that comes into picture, this Vayu element comes into picture, and at the level of Vyshti, that Jiva, it is the same Vayu which goes inside and outside. It comes into the form of prana here. We have seen that Pancha Prana, the one which goes inside, you inhale, it's called Apana, the one which you exhale is the prana, and then there is Dhyana, Samana, and Udana. So these are all Pancha Prana. So it's the same Vayu which is called as all this Pancha Prana when it is there inside the light. So if you look at it from the perspective of this universe and see it that, then you will see that it is just the Bhranti, it is just the Sankalpa Matra, it is just a subjective attitude towards the Jiva Srishti, towards the things. And then how does the Samashti, Chidakash, that expresses itself? So it says that the Samashti and the Jiva is actually the Satya Sankalpa, because it is that Chida Ghanaru. Even though there is an iota of that Aham, there is, because of the Samashti Ahankara, that Dharana and all the other concepts that comes into picture. The moment you want to express in the form of a world, automatically your dimension will come into picture, Disha will come. Time will come into picture, Kal will come, Kriya will come into picture, action will come, Dravya will come into picture, matter will come, and the Karya Karni Shakti, that one which energizes, this power, that energy, that will come. So it expresses itself into that form. So it is like that the one in the dream sees itself dying. No, it's a swapna. So like that, that Samashti, that Brahman, that Shiva, that supreme conscious in the Chidakash, it sees all these things. But when that Brahma or that Shiva looks at it, it sees here, then for that it is as it is. There is no perception involved here. That's the reason it's called Satya Sankalpa. But if you look at it from the perspective of the Jiva Drishti, the Jiva Bhava, that Jiva has a Chitta, that Chitta has its own sanskaras. Because of the old past sanskaras, whatever the things comes in front of them, they perceive it differently. So that's the reason it's called Asat. When you look at it from the perspective of divinity, what is there is Satya Sankalpa, because there is no perception here, it is just expression. But when the same expression is being looked at by a Jiva Bhava at the level of individual consciousness, we perceive the same thing is differently. When something is there, I might perceive it differently. Shri Devi ji will perceive it differently. Sheetal ji will perceive it differently. It is absolutely possible. So we see this all optical illusions, all delusions, Bhranti. There is a rope and we see it as a snake. Just like that, it's just a Bhranti, something else is there. You look at it, something different. It's all possible. Why it's all possible? At the level of Chitta, that purity is not there. At the level of Jiva Bhava, that purity is not there. It is been conquered by the Avidya, Maya, and this ignorance. Because of that, we don't see the truth as truth. That is what is being explained here. So if you see that from the perspective of the Samashti, and in all this thing, the entire thing, consciousness is just like that Paramanu. It is said like that. That's Samashti Jiva is like that. That anubhav, that experience one can get. So if you go to this, if you really see a dream, and in dream, if you see yourself as, let's say, tiger. So how your hands and how your mouth will, it will look like a tiger to you. You are looking at yourself for assuming a different form. So like that, if you see it from a perspective, this Brahma, this when it expands and when it looks at this Jagat, how does it look at it? It says that, okay, I am that Hiranyagarbha. That thing comes into picture, and then it experiences that, and then it experiences itself into forming all the Panchamahabhuta. The earth is formed, the moon is formed, the sun is formed, the different objects, this universe is formed. It expresses itself into that thing. When it comes to the level of Jiva Bhava, then it sees itself into the form of this Virat Swarup of. Means if we say what is the Virat Swarup of the divinity is this sansara, this jagat. So it says that all different things are his own limbs. The way we say my hands, my legs, they are the Virat Swarup of this is this jagat. No, so this sun, this moon, all these things are its anga. They are its parts of that Samashti is what is said. And when it takes the consolidated form of that Sankalpa, it takes the form of the Brahma, which we call the Brahmadev. So that is there. And then that Virat Bhava, then it creates the Aditya, the Tej, the Disha, Akash, Jala, Vayu, Prithvi, all these five different yes, it creates in the Panchendriya. And then those things, it experiences that thing. But this Anantakar, these different forms, so many different forms that comes into picture, that is at the level of Samashti. It is in the coming into the Virat Swarupa. So that is there. But behind that, there is this element that is pure, that is Nitya Ananda Swarup. Prakashmay is what that Brahman, that Shiva is there. Then this Samashti, if you see and expand this Samashti, and if you try to do the explanation of that, so this Purusha, that all the Purusha that coming together is that Purusha, that one being comes into picture, and that is what is said that Purusha Virat Atma. It is Atma, Paramatma, it's the same thing. So like that, and when it expresses itself, how does it explain? In Kshana Matra, in the moment it expresses itself to this, and it is all things. So it's not that, oh, it has come like this, has come like, no, it is just like that, it just expresses itself at the level of Mano Matra. No, it is like that. And then it says that just like that, we have a gut, we have a pot. What is it made up of? It is made up of a mud. So behind that pot, the Upadana Karan. Karan is the cause, is the that mud which is there. So let's say behind this entire universe, what is that Upadana Karan? That is the Ishvara. That is the Deha of Ishvara. And how do we pray to this? So we pray it in the form of Shiva Pindi. We require some Akara. We do not know the Akara or the infinite thing. And this is there, this Brahmanda is there. How do we pray it? We pray it in the form of Shiva Pindi. That is that Vyakti Bhav is where said to that Jiva Bhava. It is also said that Puriyashtaka. That is what is said. So Vaishnav said here, Rama, if you look at this five Panchendriya, five senses, Karmendriya, the Pran, Mana and Ahankara, the mind and the ego. If you look at it from the Pratyaksha form, it is the Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, this body, grassroots level body is the Pratyaksha. And the Pratyaksha is your mind, Ahankara, the subtle, which is your mind and Ahankara. So like this, there are 8 limbs of this Srishti. And at the level of your Vyshti also same, this goes true. So then if you see it from the perspective in that Virat Swarupa, it takes the form of this Chaturbhuja Brahmadev. And then Shabda and Artha, those things comes into picture. Then the names and forms are given to all these things. So if you see it from a perspective of our body structure, if you see this Akasha Tattva which is there, that becomes the expression of the Lord Brahma. Then that becomes the Brahma Mandapa. Then at his feet is this earth that is comes. At the level of his stomach is this Akasha comes into picture. At the level of the Mastaka, that head, there he sees itself as the Dyuloka. So all these different lokas, if you see, those comes into picture. And in that thing, in this Brahmanda, all this Jala Tattva, and it's all spread. It is like a blood that goes and flows through it. And then all which is continuously going on, all this Parvata and all these things is muscles over there. And if you see that there are a total 49 types of Vayus that continue to flow as an Prana Vayu into this, we say oxygen, helium, so many different types of gases that comes into just different Vayus, 49 types of Vayus. This Surya Mandala is his netra, is his eyes. This Vadagni is Pitta, that is his Skanda, that is there. Then this Chandra Mandala, the moon which is there, which is like a Jiva Bhava. From there, in that Chandra Mandala, it is like in our body, we have Vata, Kapha, Pitta, it is like that. In the Chandra Mandala, that Shitalta, that coolness is there. So the Kapha comes into picture, the Shukra, the Virya, the sperm that comes into picture. then Vapabhag, that shall be made, that comes into picture, and the Bala and the Sankalpa Rup Mana. So if you see that Sakshat Brahma has expressed itself into this universe. So such a beautiful analogy, no? Symbolic analogy is given over here. So if you see that, if you look at it from the Jiva Bhava perspective, it is the Chandra, it is the moon, which is the Karak of your mind. So if you say that moon continues to change, so in 2.5 days it continues to change its shape, the Akara, that Kala, Chandra Kala. So here we also experience that mood swings. In 2.5 days your thought change, feeling change. So that Chandra, that moon is insane. So that out of that whatever the anna, that food that is there, it is called as Poshak Soma Rasaya. So that is the one which Pachakaras, we eat something and we digest. So like that. So that is being said here. So that is when which is really give the trupti. That is when one which gives the contentment. Like these things, this pranamaya, like this thing is there, and behind this thing is that Vyshti. That Karan is there behind. That is the beach. That Chitta is the beach we are highlighting. So like this thing, that this Ati Sukshma Amrit Kala, different forms of expression of this Virat Swarupa is there. And he says that here Raghunandana, this Chandra Mandala, that is the at the level of this Jiva Samudaya, this Virat, is that the Sharira of the Samashti. And if you look at the exactly similar kind of thing that takes place at the Jiva Dharana also. So he says that if you look at from the perspective of Virata, that from mind of that Virata has the this Chandra, the moon comes into picture, the moon, and from the moon that Vyshti, that comes into picture, that is the Mana. And then from that Samashti Ji, this separateness of this Jiva Bhava, that Vyshti Bhava, that Vyshti Jiva comes into picture. Then same Vyshti Jiva comes in the form of Rasa, Rupa, Gandha, and the 5 elements. Taking it together, it expresses itself into the form of a different Jiva, like that. So it is just like an Tusharka, the small particle, this Dava Bindu, like Shukra, that Virya, that comes into picture. That is the first upadhi of Jiva. That is where the Jiva Bhava, that everything starts with. So that is there, the first upadhi, that first name and form is what is given. Then that things comes into picture in the form of this, and the father and mother, when they go and indulge into the Maithun sex, and that point of time, that Ananda Swarupa, that pleasure is what we see. It is because that Chaitanya is there, and that Chaitanya is Ananda Swarupa, Paramananda Swarupa. So we experience the pleasure there, and that Abhas, that Ananda Kadabhas, means that feeling of that pleasure that comes into picture. And then that Tanmaita, that thing, that Zanu, that awareness that is there, it takes the form of using the Panchamabhuta. It is the form, and that is how the Jiva Bhava that comes into picture. So it is not like that there is a home that is constructed and you have done the Gruha Pravesh. No, it is the same. It's the same thing. It's happening that. No, so that matter and energy are not two different things. It is that in the matter also that same Chaitanya that is exists. No, it's not that something else have come later. No, it is there since the start and it remains there. No, so despite of that, just for our understanding, we say it's this krama, this chronological order, yet it is there in that matter also that Chaitanya exists. So like that, just for the sake of our understanding, we see explain this in a chronological order, but actually it is the same. So like this Jiva Bhava also gets created. Then, but why it is not able to, when the Jiva Bhava is there, which is the same as Shiva Bhava, why it is that we do not recognize ourselves as Shiva? So it says it's because of that avidya. It is because of that ignorance, that is, because of this Maya, this delusion, which is surrounded through us, is what is that Maya? I am this body. I am this Panchendriya. I am this is perceiving. Somebody said something to me. Somebody has told this, event has happened like this, I am angry now. All these different vikaras, distortions, wrong conception about our own self, no, does not allow us to experience that Shiva, that self here. It is because of ignorance, but it's like that somebody who is by but if they are blind, how they will see these things? So like this, one gets caught up into this indriya, prana, this jadata, this stool is there, this grass is there. One gets tadatma, one gets one with this so much. They are not able to see, look at their own self nature, which is Ananda, which is Adi, Anadi, Ananda, Ajanma, no, which is that in that Swarupa of ourself, one is really not able to. And the moment you become aware about it, the moment you comes into the knowledge that Vidya dawns, automatically this avidya is removed from yourself, and that is why the Ajnana Granthi, that thing, that ignorance is been broken, and you experience that Tvam. That Tvam is that Jiva, and the Tat is that Shuddha Chaitanya thing. This is what I wanted to explain you. How this Vyshti and Samashti, what is the difference between them? How this Jiva Bhava comes into picture, and how can one that Jiva Bhava gets out of ignorance and again comes to an experience that I am Shiva. I am Shiva. That is the thing. That is what is in there. This is what you really search for. You sit and contemplate on this. That individual Jiva Bhava will become the Shiva Bhava. It's the same thing. Just little shift. Today we saw in sincere notes, just a little shift is required. When that shift is there, the bondage is not there, and you become free. Moksha, mukti, liberated. Right now, right this moment. This is where our chapter number 95 of Yog Vaashishtha concludes. I'd like to open this session for all of you to ask any questions if you have. And if you would like to express yourself, your takeaways, you're welcome to do it as well. Over to you all, Jai Gurudev. I'll take a pause here. You continue with the session. So you can use chat also to put any question that you may have. या किसी को कुछ प्रश्न पूछने हैं तो जरूर आप अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हैं, और आपके आज के क्या टेकअवेज है, आपके सत्र से आपने क्या सीखा, वो भी आप जरूर यहाँ पे व्यक्त कर सकते हैं. यदि नहीं तो आज के सत्र को हम लोग यहीं पे रोक लेते हैं. We'll take a pause here. Jai Gurudev. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 8 p.m. And the same session will be presented in Hindi tomorrow at 8 a.m. also. सुबह को यही सत्र हम लोग हिंदी में भी यहाँ पे प्रस्तुत करते हैं. So if live English is an issue, you can always watch it in Hindi also tomorrow. सत्र को हिंदी में भी हम लोग सुबह इसको कवर करते हैं. आज के सत्र को हम लोग यहाँ पे रोक लेते हैं. जय गुरुदेव.